You are not just what you eat. You are what you eat has eaten. You have to remember this.
Did your mom ever tell you to eat your vegetables? Mine too. But I guarantee if she knew what I know now about some of the most popular vegetables being sold at your grocery store, she'd tell you to put your fork down immediately. I'm Dr. Vincent Pedre, one of New York City's leading physicians and a gut health expert. For years, I struggled to maintain a healthy weight, and I also suffered from a barrage of things I had no idea were related. Things like low energy, skin issues, heartburn and indigestion, and bloating and stomach problems. It took me years of research, trial and error to figure out why. I tried nearly every diet imaginable. I even totally cut out processed foods with questionable results. It wasn't until I really dug deep in the medical journals that I finally made a breakthrough. A breakthrough I am so excited to share with you today. So just what did I discover? While it's true that the abundance of highly processed foods full of sugars and fatty oils certainly isn't helping the more than 2/3 of Americans who are overweight or obese, that's not the full story. There's another serious problem with our food supply. Even a lot of the foods that you think are healthy and are probably in your kitchen right now may actually be to blame if you've been struggling with your weight, feeling sluggish and bloated, or just not quite yourself. Now, please listen carefully, because these aren't those typical processed foods that I'm sure you already know to stay away from, like sugary cereals, yogurts, frozen dinners, and diet sodas. Even many of the fruits and vegetables in your very own fridge have been tainted by the food industry, because they are loaded with gut disruptors. In fact, the most popular vegetable in the US is now the #1 thing I consider most hazardous for your health. Odds are you've eaten this in the last 5 days. I'm going to tell you about it and the other foods to cross off your grocery list immediately. Because believe me, the disgusting substances scientists discovered in and on the surface of them is utterly terrifying. But what's truly disturbing is that your grocery store is not required to put any warning labels on these food products, leaving consumers like you completely in the dark. First, a warning. What I am ultimately going to expose by the end of this presentation may upset you. So prepare yourself, because even I, a medical doctor with more than 20 years of experience, was shocked with what I uncovered. And although it has been a rough personal journey, I am thrilled to say that I now know exactly what foods I can and cannot eat in order to support a happy gut and maintain a healthy weight. Quite frankly, I'm relieved to report that I've never felt better. But you deserve to feel good too. So I've put together this presentation because the startling, unprecedented research I discovered over the past few months about what I like to call digestive superfoods is just too important to share with only my patients. They are the key to maintaining a healthy gut so you can feel more energized, better manage your weight, eliminate any indigestion or heartburn you may have, improve the quality of your sleep, boost your mood, and maybe even relieve some of those nagging aches and pains simply by watching this video. I promise you'll finally understand how easy it can all be done, because I'm about to introduce my top 3 digestive superfoods that you need to implement into your diet right away in order to make up for the micronutrient deficiencies in the processed foods that comprise almost all of the standard American diet. But not only that, one of these superfoods is crucial to keeping your gut happy, especially if you are a bit overweight or over the age of 40. I've already informed hundreds of my patients about my incredible findings. And many that have tried my digestive superfoods are thrilled with their results. Like them, don't you want to wipe out your bad food cravings so you can finally increase your energy and improve your overall health and wellness? I thought so. That's why I urge you to pay close attention to what I'm about to reveal. Because by doing so, you too will become an expert on how to look and feel your best at any age. Now, you may be wondering why I've spent so much of my own time and effort to create such a comprehensive health report. It's because helping others is truly my #1 priority. And that's what led me to the medical field more than 20 years ago while studying at Cornell University. In 2004, after graduating from the University of Miami, I created my own private practice in Manhattan called Pedre Integrative Health, which I'm proud to say is thriving. Thousands have trusted me with their health, and serving them has been an honor. Though my office is based in New York City, you might recognize me from Good Morning America and Dr. Oz. Perhaps you've even tuned in during one of my regular talks on SiriusXM's Dr. Radio. You see, I want to reach as many people as possible with this important new research, because I know from personal experience how the food we put into our bodies can lead to exhaustion, stomach discomfort, brain fog, bloating, uncontrollable cravings, and even weight gain. As a doctor, it's been difficult for me to open up about my own struggles with gut issues. I'm ashamed to admit that for a long time, I didn't even recognize I was sick. Maybe that's how you've been feeling too. So first and foremost, I think you should know that none of this is your fault. Unfortunately, most Americans don't even realize just how much our food supply has changed in the past few decades. So in a minute, I am going to expose those gut disruptors that I suggest you avoid at all costs. One has even been banned in 38 countries, including most of Europe. Another is an ingredient that can also be found in cleaners and stain removers. Pretty gross, huh? Now, if you're ready to make the small commitment to educate yourself about these gut disruptors and the 3 digestive superfoods that will better balance your gut, which can help reduce your cravings, increase your metabolism, regulate your digestion, and drop unwanted fat, then as a doctor, I suggest you hear me out. Because what I've discovered doesn't require any further visits to medical clinics or specialists. You can accomplish this while relaxing at home. And in just a matter of weeks, you could finally have more energy, feel healthier, and look slimmer. Think of this as your opportunity to make a remarkable health transformation for good. And if you thought working out was the key to weight loss, then what I'm about to tell you in a moment is really going to be surprising. Because one clinical study that followed 400 women proved that you can lose 3 times more weight by doing something other than exercise. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Okay, here's the crazy part. The key to better health and ultimately weight loss is with eating more food. I'll bet now you're thinking, how could food, the one thing you've been told over and over again makes you fat, be the solution? Like Hippocrates first said, I always tell my patients, let food be thy medicine. That's because scientific reports prove that eating more of the digestive superfoods I'm going to share with you can help increase your metabolism, the main power center of your body, making it easy to lose the extra fat. Have no fear. No matter what your age or how many pounds you want to drop, it's never too late to make some minor lifestyle changes for the better. Any day can be day one. And just to be clear, I'm not saying you need to completely transform your diet or daily routine. So, if you want to feel more energetic, boost your mood, shrink your gut, stop any stomach aches, and improve your overall health, then I recommend that you at least watch this video to the end. And feel free to take some notes, because the downright startling revelations I'm about to disclose are so vital to your health. You see, there are a number of hidden ingredients and chemicals lurking in processed foods that are destroying your gut. I'll tell you what they are and how clinical trials have proven that they will lead to low energy, weight gain, skin problems, brain fog, digestive issues, and poor sleep. But there's no need to panic, because I've come up with some easy ways to minimize the terrible toll they take on your body. Adding the 3 digestive superfoods that I'm about to reveal into your daily routine is my #1 recommendation. And I can't tell you how many patients have thanked me for sharing this information with them. So let's not waste any time. All right, now just like a mechanic has to know how a car runs to repair it, don't you think it's important for you to know how your stomach processes food? I mean, that's really the only way you can fix your gut, which most health practitioners like myself agree is where many of your health problems start. And if biology isn't really your thing, I'll make this quick and simple for you. Did you know that there are an estimated 100 trillion bacteria microbes living in your large intestine alone, with more in other parts of your body? That's 5 pounds of bacteria. The vast majority of these bacteria can be found in your gut. They are called the gut flora, and they play a vital role in nearly every single one of your body's systems. Nearly every single one. But not all bacteria are created equal. On the one hand, you have the friendly bacteria. They are the good guys, which boost metabolism, support your body's immune system, regulate your moods, keep your energy levels high, and they promote healthy bodily functions. They are also the key to keeping your waistline trim. On the other hand, you have the harmful bacteria. These are the bad guys. And when the bad guys take over, your gut becomes a war zone, where the good and bad bacteria fight for control. And the imbalance in your gut takes a toll on your entire body, causing you to get sick more often, robbing you of your natural energy, and over time, they cause really bad things to manifest. Things like obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, and leaky gut. So if you're feeling tired, craving unhealthy foods, having irregular digestive issues, or just not feeling quite yourself, it's quite possible your gut flora is out of balance. And most people don't even realize it. Considering the statistics, is it possible that you have an imbalanced gut? And if so, do you know what it's doing to your gut lining? Here's what I like to tell all my patients. Think of the gut as your internal garden, and surrounding your garden is a rock wall. That's your gut lining. When everything is healthy, all the rocks of the wall fit nicely and tightly together. And they hold in all the dirt, which is your microbiome. Those are the good guys, the good bacteria that keep the gut lining healthy. Just like you care for a garden with water and sunlight, your microbiome needs to be supported and nurtured by the foods that you eat. And when that internal garden is flourishing, only the good stuff your body needs, like vitamins and minerals, will pass through the gut lining as food is digested and broken down. But when you eat the highly processed foods that have become part of the standard American diet, you can damage this delicate ecosystem. What happens is that your gut lining, that solid rock wall around your microbiome, gets broken up. It's called leaky gut. And that's when all the bad guys, the food particles, toxins, and bad bacteria get through the gut lining. In fact, we are just now learning how prevalent leaky gut actually is. And for millions of undiagnosed Americans, they aren't even aware they're sick. It causes inflammation that leads to a whole host of other issues, including joint pain, breathing problems, allergies, migraines, and hives. Or you may simply feel lousy, tired, mentally foggy, or just not yourself. And since the harmful bacteria are now calling the shots, you'll find yourself eating more of those junk foods that lead to weight gain. Sadly, it's a vicious cycle that's hard to break. Here's the bottom line. Our stomachs simply can't handle the processed foods in the standard American diet, because they are loaded with hidden toxins and chemicals that wreak havoc on your health. And like I just said, these processed foods and the ingredients added to them are driving our cravings, creating more sales for food manufacturers. But it wasn't always like this. It wasn't until the 1960s, when things like TV dinners and canned meat hit the market, that food became a storable commodity. The days of farm to table began to fade. Now it's all about factory to fridge. And today there are just 10 conglomerates that process most of our food. Food that we throw in our pantries, refrigerators, and freezers for weeks, months, and sometimes even years before eating it. Ever wonder how that tomato sauce in your cupboard can last so long while a fresh tomato will rot within a week? This is something I think we all should know. To keep it simple, let's focus on that tomato. One way to preserve a tomato is by dehydrating it, but a dehydrated tomato loses a lot of its flavor. So what do food manufacturers do to get that flavor back? They add sodium, sugar, fat, and additives. These are the ingredients that drive our cravings, making us eat more than we should, especially sugar. Out of the more than 600,000 processed food items available, over 70% of them have added sugar. And since sugar consumption is way up, so are the calories we are consuming. In fact, comparing the year 1977 to 2006, Americans are eating around 570 calories more per day on average. Most of those calories come from all the processed foods we can't stop eating that are full of sugars, oils, and refined grains. So it's not surprising that more than 1 billion adults worldwide are considered overweight or obese. And I hate to say it, but if you're trying to shed some pounds, calorie counting is unlikely to work. I know. You may think I'm crazy since reducing your caloric intake has been the advice of many doctors for decades. But the truth is that keeping track of every single calorie you consume is nearly impossible, especially when you eat the processed foods that are part of the standard American diet. The calories listed on nutrition labels aren't even exact. They can actually have up to a 10% margin of error. So you may be consuming more calories than you've calculated. Believe me, I've personally seen hundreds of patients try limiting and counting their calories with little to no success. It's much more effective and a whole lot easier to eat more foods that don't drive your cravings. Like Iva Mori from Sydney, New York. She emailed me this the other day. I have lost 11 pounds. I am delighted with the results. I have tried to lose by counting calories and doing the point system, but I have always failed. Although I am not losing weight fast, I have been healthier and I feel better. Imagine what losing 11 pounds would do for you, too. And that was after Iva added the digestive superfoods I'm going to share with you today into her diet. No calorie counting needed. So I know what you are wondering now. Dr. Pedre, why doesn't calorie counting work? It's because it all comes down to the quality of the calorie, not the quantity. And certain calories metabolize quicker than others. So simply eating less calories isn't necessarily going to result in weight loss. Oh, and guess what? You may not even need to exercise to slim down. Seriously. A 2011 study of nearly 400 women conducted by top researchers in Seattle, Washington, found that those who increased their exercise routine with no change in diet reduced their weight by just 2.4% after 1 year. On the other hand, the women in the study that changed only their diet with no increase in exercise reduced their weight by about 8.5%. That's over 3 times more weight loss just by changing what you eat. Now, I know there are a lot of options out there when it comes to diet. You've probably heard of the ketogenic diet, gluten-free diet, vegan diet, vegetarian diet, dairy-free diet. The list goes on and on. Go ahead and forget about all of them. Because first and foremost, you need to fix the root cause of your food cravings, digestive issues, low energy, and weight gain. Which brings me back to your gut, or internal garden, and those 100 trillion bacteria microbes. The last thing you want is for your garden to become overgrown with weeds, or in the case of your gut, bad bacteria. The imbalance between the good and bad bacteria is known as dysbiosis. And it's those gut disruptors I mentioned earlier that are to blame. The bad news is that even foods we think are safe and clean are actually covered with them. I can't stress this enough. Remember when I said there is a popular vegetable that is the #1 thing I consider most hazardous to your health? Well, I was talking about corn. Why? It's because nearly all of it, roughly 88%, is genetically modified to be resistant to pesticides, which means farmers are dousing the corn you're eating with a chemical called glyphosate. Now, GMOs, especially ones like corn that are regularly sprayed with glyphosate, have been a controversial topic for years, but it's the latest headlines on CNN and the New York Times that are most troubling. On August 10th, 2018, a company that makes a weed killer with glyphosate was found liable for causing the terminal cancer of 46-year-old school groundskeeper Dwayne Johnson. In the unprecedented trial, Johnson was awarded $289 million in damages, since the company failed to warn him and other consumers like you about the potential health hazards of glyphosate. Remember, this is a chemical that is being sprayed on our corn and other food crops. And according to internal documents revealed in court, the company knew glyphosate was dangerous as early as 1983. What's worse is that former officials with the EPA, the government agency that's supposed to protect us, may have been in on a cover-up. That's because the EPA's pesticide office relies on product registration fees from companies like this one to operate. Now, more than 5,000 similar lawsuits concerning glyphosate have been filed across the country. As a doctor, I've tried my best to warn my patients about the hazards of this particular gut disruptor for years. Glyphosate in weed killers was first introduced in 1974 for both farmers and homeowners. Since then, the use of this chemical has increased 15-fold. And recent studies are proving that the alarming increase of health problems plaguing the nation over the last 20 years is not coincidental. One report that came across my desk was truly eye-opening. I mean, I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing. Published in 2014 in the Journal of Organic Systems, the study contains numerous graphs that show the striking correlation between the rise of glyphosate use and the rise of chronic diseases including inflammatory bowel disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, and intestinal infection. The researchers concluded that environmental triggers, mainly the increasing use of glyphosate on genetically engineered crops, are the cause. The overwhelming results simply could not be coincidence. Even the World Health Organization determined in March of 2015 that glyphosate is, quote, probably carcinogenic to humans. That's certainly not something I like to hear. So just what happens when glyphosate gets into your system? Basically, glyphosate is an antimicrobial agent that creates dysbiosis, which often leads to leaky gut. Now, remember how I told you earlier that there was a food that has been banned in 38 countries? GMOs like corn that are treated with this gut-disrupting chemical are what I was talking about. Sadly, the FDA continues to allow the engineering of GMOs in the United States, and the EPA maintains that the glyphosate being sprayed on GMOs is harmless to humans. But in 2012, a group of farmers were curious, so they took it upon themselves to test the chemical content of the genetically modified corn in their fields. And here's where things get really scary. The corn contained 13 parts per million of glyphosate. Let me put that into perspective for you. The Environmental Protection Agency strongly regulates the levels of glyphosate in drinking water, and the maximum contaminant level of glyphosate allowed by the EPA is just 0.7 parts per million. That means that genetically modified corn tested in Iowa, the same corn that is likely found right on your dinner plate, was 18 times above what the government deems as safe in the public water system. In fact, once the glyphosate level reaches just 1 part per million, it's considered toxic. But even with all the mounting medical evidence and research surrounding glyphosate, more than 1.4 billion pounds of the toxic weed killer continue to be used each year throughout the world. And even more frightening is the fact that this chemical has become part of our ecosystem. In 2007, the U.S. Geological Survey tested rain samples in Mississippi and discovered glyphosate was present 77% of the time. And because it's in our rain, that means all crops are tainted by glyphosate. So even if you eat only organic or just the fruits and vegetables straight from your own garden, your gut is still in trouble. And at this point, I estimate it would take 50 years to completely rid our environment of this chemical if we stopped using it today. Now, don't fret too much, because there are some things you can do to limit your exposure to glyphosate. As a doctor, I strongly urge all of my patients to do their best to avoid GMOs and the processed foods that contain them. But I also realize how difficult it can be since farmers and food manufacturers are not required to label corn or other crops and ingredients as genetically modified or GMO. Trust me, I'm frustrated by this too. So in addition to corn, here is a list of some of the most common ones to look out for: soybeans, canola oil, squash, potatoes, and zucchini. I'm not saying you have to cut these foods entirely out of your diet. What you can do is be more mindful of choosing products that are marked as non-GMO verified or organic. By definition, organic foods cannot contain human-engineered genetic modifications like the ones used to make a crop resistant to glyphosate. But here's another thing to keep in mind. Glyphosate isn't the only thing poisoning our produce and disrupting our guts. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, "an apple a day keeps the doctor away." I wish it really were that simple, but ironically, apples are one of the most contaminated non-organic fruits. You see, each year the Environmental Working Group puts together a list called the Dirty Dozen, and all the fruits and vegetables on the list are ones that have tested positive for various chemicals even after being washed. Some of the worst ones are celery, peaches, strawberries, and, of course, apples. In fact, 16 of the chemicals discovered on apples are hormone disruptors. 6 are known or suspected carcinogens, and 5 are neurotoxins. Toxins like these in your food result in gut issues and obesity. Makes you wonder if an apple a day really does keep the doctor away. Just be sure to always buy organic apples, which reduce the amount of toxins consumed by 80%. Also, stick with less contaminated fruits from the Clean 15 list, such as avocados, kiwi, and watermelon. Now, I've talked a lot about chemicals like herbicides and pesticides, but there's another gut disruptor that has found its way into our food supply: antibiotics. Unfortunately, there's a dark side to these miracle drugs that I have to tell you about. Now, there's a good chance you have taken an antibiotic at least once in your life, even if you don't remember it. Maybe you had strep throat as a child or a bout of pneumonia as an adult, or even just a bad cough, sinus infection, or earache. But do you actually know what antibiotics do to your guts when you take them? These strong medicines kill bacteria, and that's great when it comes to fighting an infection and preventing it from spreading. But here's the catch. Antibiotics can't tell the difference between good and bad bacteria in your gut. They act like an atom bomb, vaporizing your entire internal garden. In fact, studies now show that just a single dose of antibiotics can dramatically alter the balance of your gut flora. And after 1 week of taking antibiotics, you can wipe out trillions of vital bacteria, which can send your gut microbiome out of balance for years. I know too well how antibiotics can haunt you long after you've taken them. When I was a child, I often got sick with sinus infection and bronchitis. My parents took me to the doctor constantly, and nearly every time the doctor would prescribe an antibiotic. This happened multiple times a year all throughout my teenage years, and I never really got better, even as I got older. Now I know why. The antibiotics were just decimating my gut flora, causing inflammation and leaky gut. And by doing so, it was making me more susceptible to infections. It wasn't until I was in medical school that I figured this all out. That's when I knew it was my mission to make sure no one else suffers like I did. You see, even if you've never taken antibiotics, you're not safe. Shocked? I understand. Because what I'm about to tell you is something that surprises most of my patients. If you are eating the standard American diet, then you're still being exposed to antibiotics. How is that possible, you ask? Well, as far back as the 1950s, antibiotics have been used heavily on meat and poultry farms. But in this case, it's not because the animals are sick. Farmers use antibiotics regularly to fatten up cows, chickens, and pigs. And according to numerous research studies, the bacteria-killing drugs are passed on to humans when the animals are eaten. I hope you're paying close attention, because even if you don't eat beef, pork, or poultry, there are new concerns surrounding antibiotics. Researchers have discovered that medicine is being used heavily in fish farms to treat and prevent disease. The 2013 study conducted in Arizona examined 27 fish from 11 different countries. Antibiotics were discovered in farmed tilapia, farmed salmon, and farmed trout from all over the world. What's more alarming is that even farmed salmon marked as antibiotic-free tested positive for virginiamycin. That's an antibiotic used to treat infections in animals, as well as to prevent microbial contamination in ethanol fuel. Sound like something you want to put in your body? Didn't think so. Now, I'm not saying that you have to stop eating salmon, pork, chicken, or beef, because what I've discovered allows you to get away with safely eating all of them in moderation. I do, however, recommend to all of my patients to choose humanely sourced meats only. Now, I know you're anxious to hear more about my discovery, so I promise to get to that shortly. There's just one more gut disruptor that you need to know about. In fact, if you've been struggling with digestive problems, including heartburn, cramping, discomfort, bloating, or weight gain, then these food additives could very well be the culprit. They're in practically every processed food out there, so unfortunately, they're pretty much unavoidable. I'm talking about emulsifiers. Emulsifiers are those hard-to-pronounce, crazy-looking artificial preservatives you probably glaze over when reading nutrition labels. They are the ingredients I mentioned earlier that can also be found in cleaners and stain removers. Things like polysorbate 80, lecithin, carrageenan, polyglycerols, and xanthan gum. But do you even know what they are and what they do? Essentially, these chemicals keep all the ingredients of processed foods from separating over time. So, you know how oil and water don't mix? Well, just add a little emulsifier and presto. Turns out oil and water can mix. Not only do these additives improve the look and texture of the foods we eat, but they also increase the shelf life. So that jar of peanut butter can sit in your pantry for more than a year and look just as tasty as the day you bought it. But this convenience comes at a cost, and it's a cost to your health. According to a study published in February 2015 in the journal Nature, emulsifiers can actually alter the gut microbiome, leading to inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, high blood pressure, and diabetes. What's more is that additional studies have shown chemicals like polysorbate 80, found commonly in chewing gum, ice cream, gelatin, and condiments, also break up the mucus layer of the gut lining, just like how detergents and soaps cut through grease. In one study, polysorbate 80 increased intestinal permeability 59-fold. The end result? You guessed it, leaky gut. Oh, and don't assume foods labeled as organic and non-GMO are safe from these gut-blasting preservatives. Emulsifiers can also be found in tons of so-called healthy foods. And many of these food additives are not even regulated or tested by the FDA. So there's no real way of knowing which ones are going to wipe out that internal garden of good bacteria in your gut. But not all hope is lost. Fortunately, there are plenty of independent scientists at the forefront of gut research. For example, in 2005, Australian physician Barry Marshall received the Nobel Prize for his discovery. In a groundbreaking clinical study of 100 biopsies from the stomachs of patients suffering from bloating, nausea, heartburn, and other digestive pains, Marshall found that one type of bacteria was present in nearly every case. Due to these results, he believed this one particularly bad strain of bacteria called H. pylori was the main reason for the patient's gut ailments. Hoping to further prove his hypothesis, Marshall did the unthinkable. He decided to test his theory on himself. He took some H. pylori, stirred it into some broth, and drank it. Within days, Marshall felt nauseous and exhausted. After further testing and a biopsy of his own stomach, Marshall proved that too much H. pylori can infect and inflame your stomach, leading to sores on its lining called ulcers. In fact, we now know that more than 80% of ulcers are caused by H. pylori. Shockingly, it is estimated that about 2/3 of the world's population has H. pylori in their gut. When the bad bacteria like H. pylori or other strains take over, all bets are off. Think about your own gut instincts or gut feelings for a minute. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach? Or just had a hunch about people or situations? That's your gut talking. How is this possible? Well, there is a direct link between your brain and your gut called the vagus nerve. Normally, this nerve regulates mood, digestion, and metabolism. But when bad bacteria seize control, the vagus nerve sends signals to your brain that trigger those bad food cravings. Have you ever munched down on a box of cookies, a pint of ice cream, a bag of chips, or some other unhealthy snack, only to regret it moments later? Nod your head if that's happened to you. I can tell you virtually every one of my patients is nodding their head right now. That's a telltale sign that your gut is imbalanced and the bad guys are now calling the shots. So when there's a bacteria war zone in your gut, it affects your entire body, both physically and mentally. Whether it's brain fog, bloating, skin issues, unwanted weight gain, or low energy, trust me, you'll feel it. Thankfully, there is some good news in the fight between the good and bad bacteria. It's that Mother Nature knows what she's doing. And the microbiome is incredibly resilient. It has the ability to respond to and reverse a gut flora imbalance no matter how extreme it may be. You just need to give it the right ingredients to work with. It's as simple as nourishing and building up your good microbes and letting nature take care of the rest. For instance, a strain of good bacteria called L. rhamnosus has actually been linked to weight loss. According to a study I came across in the British Journal of Nutrition in 2014, researchers found that women taking L. rhamnosus for just 3 months lost 50% more weight compared to those taking a placebo. The bacteria was also shown to support immune function, promote clearer skin, and improve digestion. Another good bacteria called L. gasseri has also been shown to reduce the fat around vital organs. This was first discovered in 2013 by top researchers in Japan who studied the effects of bacteria on more than 200 adults. After 3 months, those taking L-Gasseri reduced their abdominal visceral fat areas by a significant 8.5%. Since then, further studies have linked L-Gasseri to overall reduced body mass, the reduction of fat absorption, and decreased waist and hip circumference. Seems too good to be true, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is an easy way to replenish and strengthen the good bacteria in your gut, so you can start to look and feel younger, more vibrant, more energetic, and more alive. Now, are you ready for my big reveal? I'm talking about the 3 digestive superfoods I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. Get this, the first of these ingredients was used by the ancient Romans as a cleansing medicinal herb, and the ancient Egyptians believed it could purify the body. It's a little-known fiber called chicory root. Fiber is so important for proper digestion. It helps move waste through your body, preventing constipation, bloating, stomach cramps, and loss of appetite. But that's not all. Fiber also helps prevent heart problems, regulates metabolism, and reduces weight gain. Here's the thing. Fiber is actually removed from many of the processed foods in the standard American diet. Why would something so important to our health be cut out? It's because macronutrients in processed foods need to be pre-frozen to sustain the longer shelf life we have become accustomed to. Any idea what happens when you freeze fiber? It turns to mush. Want to see that for yourself? Just put an orange in your freezer overnight and then try to eat it the next day after it has thawed out. Total mush. So food manufacturers squeeze and freeze the juice of the orange, throwing away the essential fiber. It's no surprise to me that recent studies are confirming what I and other doctors already knew. Americans are not getting enough fiber, not even close. I estimate that about 80% get less than half the suggested 30 grams per day. And when your microbes are starved for fiber, they can start to feed on the protective mucus lining of the gut, triggering inflammation and leaky gut. Which brings me back to chicory root. Its superpower is being resistant to the acid in your stomach. So unlike most foods, it passes through your gut undigested, where your good microbes feed on its fiber called inulin. Because even if your good bacteria have been destroyed by GMOs or antibiotics, they are still in there. They just need the right food source to reproduce and rejuvenate your gut. So it can get back to keeping you in good health, resulting in easier digestion, increased metabolism, and more energy. Perhaps best of all, unhealthy cravings start to fade away. Because when the good bacteria have regained control of your gut, they also take over your brain signals from the bad guys, which means you'll stop craving junk food, and healthy eating becomes second nature. And do you know what that means? Yes, fat loss becomes much easier. But before you run out to the store in search of chicory root, there's something else you need to know, and this is critical. Chicory root can only feed and nourish the bacteria already living in your gut. But when your gut has been vaporized by chemicals and antibiotics from the foods at your grocery store, it can't do its job. This is extremely common with my patients. And I can just about guarantee that the majority of your beneficial strains have been decimated, which leads me to my second digestive superfood, therapeutic class probiotics, or TCPs for short. Probiotics, as you may or may not know, are another name for the beneficial bacteria in your system. They come in hundreds of different strains and varieties. And medically, when used correctly, they increase the diversity and amount of good bacteria in your gut, which of course means improved digestion, easier weight loss, more energy, and overall better wellness. But not all probiotics are created equal. The reason you probably haven't seen or tried what my medical colleagues and I call therapeutic class probiotics before is because they are extremely rare. They are also complicated and very time-consuming to produce. It takes months to formulate the highest quality TCPs, which is part of the reason why only a handful of labs in the US can even make them. If you've tried probiotic supplements before, it's more than likely that what you've tried is called retail class probiotics, and it's very important to be careful. A large number of big companies are currently cashing in by offering the retail class probiotics for a premium price. You can find them all over your local pharmacy or Whole Food store, and even popping up online. These retail products, in my research, are often low quality and contain easy to produce, ineffective, and sometimes even dangerous bacteria strains. I'll just come out and say it. I think almost all retail probiotics are a huge waste of money. They rarely provide the variety of strains necessary to effectively rebalance your gut. So if you've tried probiotics before and didn't get the results you were promised, like I hear from so many of my patients, I'll bet they were not therapeutic class. You see, to be what I consider a true TCP, they need to have a minimum of 10 very specific bacteria strains. Here's the really interesting part. Each strain of therapeutic level bacteria has different clinically proven or medically researched effects on the body. For example, certain TCP strains work to keep your digestion running smoothly. Others keep your immune function strong. Some strains help regulate your appetite and mood, while others boost your metabolism and make it easier to shed excess fat. Remember those 2 specific strains I told you about, L. rhamnosus and L. gasseri? I consider these my secret probiotic weapons for patients wanting to lose weight. And they are just a couple examples of what you will find in real TCPs. Along with a multitude of other clinically researched and proven bacteria that support overall gut health. With these proven benefits, of course, I insist all of my patients that can afford it take TCPs, which have been shown time and again in medical studies to produce results you can both see and feel. So how can you tell the difference between a therapeutic class probiotic and a retail class probiotic? It's simple. Check the packaging. If your probiotics come in a glass or plastic bottle, they may be a lower quality retail class. Most high-quality therapeutic class probiotics come in nitrogen-sealed blister packs that ensure temperature stability in order to fully preserve the bacteria. That means they don't ever need to be refrigerated and their potency is guaranteed through the expiration date. All right, let's move on to digestive superfood number 3. It's not really a food, but a vitamin found in a lot of different foods. I'm talking about vitamin B. And there are actually 8 different vitamin B compounds your body needs. For example, salmon is a good source of B3. Leafy greens contain lots of B9, and beef liver is loaded with B12. But to ensure you're getting enough of each one, I recommend taking a dedicated vitamin B complex that includes all 8 of them. Based on what I see in my practice, I now consider a B complex to be just as important as my other 2 superfoods, chicory root and therapeutic-grade probiotics. And here's why. When the human gut is healthy and properly balanced, part of its job is to absorb vitamins and nutrients. What many people don't realize is that gut microbes are also capable of synthesizing certain vitamins needed for gut health and proper digestion, including B2, B9, and B12. However, when your gut microbes are out of balance, it's a different story. Both your ability to absorb vitamins and naturally produce them are severely reduced, which is why my research led me to start including a dedicated vitamin B complex on top of chicory root and TCPs anytime a patient comes into my office complaining of low energy, food cravings, or poor digestion. And I say a dedicated B complex because most multivitamins don't include all 8 compounds crucial for your metabolism and digestion. And all 8 compounds are essential if you want to experience easier digestion of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, better functioning of your GI tract, stronger immune system and disease prevention, and improved absorption of other essential vitamins. In fact, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention recommends that all U.S. citizens over the age of 51 get their B vitamins from supplementation. And I tend to agree because it's the fastest and most efficient way to get them into your system. In fact, I would even extend that recommendation to include anyone over the age of 40, especially if you feel tired, have poor digestion, or struggle with your weight. Now that I've shared all 3 of my superfoods, there's still something I need to explain. And that's how to unlock their full potential. In other words, how to get a total gut health transformation and start looking and feeling like the person you want to be. You see, prebiotics like chicory root and TCPs have certainly been effective for many of my patients. However, it wasn't until my research led me to start adding the dedicated B complex into the treatment plan that everything changed. Within a week, I started getting phone calls from patients who were now taking vitamin B complex on top of the prebiotic and TCPs they had already been using. And I cannot properly explain in words just how powerful the results were. A few of my patients were so overjoyed they were brought to tears, and some even insisted on coming into my office to thank me personally. Take Lori D. from California, for example, who says, "Within the first few days, I noticed a decrease in my bad food cravings. Now I crave fruits and berries, less bread and dairy. I'm no longer preoccupied with what am I having for my next meal. My stomach is much calmer and less bloated after eating. Thank you for all your work." The truly amazing part? Whether it's bloating, skin issues, or low energy, more serious issues like IBS or leaky gut, or something as basic as just wanting to look a little slimmer, the simple addition of vitamin B complex seemed to supercharge their results, regardless of their gut health condition. Naturally, I was thrilled to be able to help so many patients completely transform their health and finally get the results they were after. But as a student of medicine, I needed to understand why. To my surprise, all of my research confirmed the same thing: a breakthrough phenomenon on the cutting edge of gut health known as symbiotics. Symbiotics are simply the way my prebiotic and probiotic superfoods interact with each other. You see, they work hand in hand like a team, and together they provide some incredibly powerful health benefits above and beyond what each could provide individually. In other words, these ingredients taken together have an exponential impact on your gut health. For example, in more than a dozen studies, patients on symbiotics have experienced increased weight loss, decreased body mass and waist circumference, improvements in bloating and IBS severity, greater quality of life changes, and improved gastrointestinal performance. Hundreds of my patients are already enjoying some of these amazing health benefits themselves simply by following my advice. Because when you combine chicory root, TCPs, and vitamin B in just the right amount, the powerful results have been undeniable for many people. That's why I am sharing this scientific breakthrough with you today, so you too can feel slimmer, beat the bloat, boost your energy, and live your life to the fullest once again. Remember, more than 2/3 of Americans are currently battling obesity. Even more are struggling to maintain a well-balanced gut. I estimate that these numbers will only continue to increase until we do something about it. Now is the time to take action. And here's some excellent news. Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are, how many pounds you want to lose, or how out of shape you may be. Today is the day you can finally balance your gut, resulting in better metabolism, fewer cravings, and a fitter waistline. Because this is a cutting-edge breakthrough for your gut that will pay off in spades. Get excited, because I'm going to let you in on all the details right now. It's hard to believe that it was just a few short months ago when I first introduced my 3 digestive superfoods to my patients. I mean, their results have been extraordinary in such a small amount of time. Every single one of my patients that has fully committed to my plan has experienced an improvement in their health. Even so, many of them were complaining. Strange, huh? Why would someone complain about feeling and looking better than they have in years? Well, it turns out the amount of time, effort, and money it was costing them to keep up with my groundbreaking regimen was just too daunting. And I get it. Nobody likes having to take 3 pills a day, especially when you have to dish out loads of cash for those pills. It was heartbreaking to know that something so effective was too difficult for most of my patients to sustain. But rather than sit around and sulk, I was determined to take my Synbiotic formula to the next level, and that meant creating the first ever fusion of all 3 digestive superfoods into a single pill, so that my clinically proven ingredients can tackle all of your gut health issues simultaneously. I just knew there had to be a way to create the only Synbiotic formula with these 3 superfoods: chicory root, therapeutic class probiotics, and vitamin B complex. That would be easy and cost-effective for my patients, so they would continue reaping all the benefits of having a well-balanced gut. Now, as a doctor, I've had a great deal of medical training, but I still needed a lot of help to bring my innovative idea to fruition. Lucky for me, the team at United Naturals, one of the fastest growing health brands in North America, was just as enthusiastic about my concept as me. Sure, it took months of trial and error to get it just right, but now I can honestly say that I believe we've come up with the highest quality all-in-one gut health solution available anywhere. I predict that my new Synbiotic formula, consisting of the purest and most potent ingredients available, will transform the lives of the millions of Americans currently suffering from poor gut health. And since the key to my daily superfood solution is symbiotics, I named it Synbiotic365. Synbiotic365 is so innovative that you won't find anything else like it at your grocery store or online. Trust me, I've searched for something like this myself many times. It doesn't exist. That's because Synbiotic365 is the only 3-part formula that will nourish, replenish, and fortify your gut flora so that your internal garden can fully flourish. Each tiny capsule contains a proprietary blend of premium chicory root extract that studies have shown will feed the good bacteria in your gut while starving the bad bacteria. This ingredient goes to work immediately to help eliminate your junk food cravings. There's also 12 powerful strains of therapeutic class probiotics in order to create maximum bacteria diversity, including my 2 bacteria strains clinically proven to reduce weight. This will help revitalize your gut, improve digestion, and prevent you from overeating. And of course, Synbiotic365 also includes a vitamin B complex, proven to make up for any nutritional deficiencies caused by an imbalanced gut. This further supports better digestion and can trigger a boost in your metabolism. Even though it has only been available for a short time, people are already raving about how Synbiotic365 has completely transformed their lives. Like Denise D. from Northbrook, Illinois. I love United Naturals Synbiotic365. I was so surprised at my body's reaction. Within an hour or so of taking the first pill, my brain fog lifted. I never realized that I had brain fog, but after taking the pill, I began to have more clarity in thinking. I also have more energy now. My cravings have decreased and I was able to lose 6 pounds, which has been very difficult for me to do. Please keep making this wonderful product. Thank you. And here's what Lynn S. from Nokomis, Florida had to say. I was taking Prilosec for 10 years or longer. Since my 1.5 months on Synbiotic365, I have not had a single episode of heartburn or indigestion. I've also lost 5 pounds and am completely awed by these results. I am now awaiting my second 3-month order and certainly hope it comes soon. Dolores H. from Jonesboro, Arkansas just sent me this email. I have been taking Synbiotic365 for a little over 3 months and have found that I feel much better and it has helped my digestive system. It has eliminated pain and bloating in my stomach. I am happy with the product. Now, I want to make something very clear about my intentions. I didn't create Synbiotic365 so you could lose weight. That just happens to be an amazing side effect that my patients thank me for every day. Think of it this way: no guts, no glory. What I mean is, if you don't address the problems in your gut first, you'll never really come out triumphant in the battle of the bulge. So the real motivation behind Synbiotic365 is to improve digestion so that you never have to deal with constant bloating, sleepless nights, cramping, low energy, or just feeling tired and sluggish ever again. And since you've been paying close attention to this video, I'm sure you remember how vital it is to have a happy gut. I personally had to cope with an unhappy gut for way too long. It affected my whole body. I was constantly tired, achy, and felt lousy most days. But ever since I started implementing the digestive superfoods of Synbiotic365 into my diet, I've had more energy and less stomach pains. I've also been more focused during the day and sleeping better at night. You're probably wondering how one little pill could be so effective. Well, let me tell you. You see, as a doctor, I've taken an oath to uphold the highest ethical standards. I take that oath very seriously. And I know you're putting a lot of trust in me as a medical authority. So in order for me to recommend and stand behind an all-encompassing probiotic supplement for digestion and weight management to my patients, it not only needs to have every digestive superfood that I've described in this video, but those ingredients must be combined very precisely in dosage and potency. I also made sure that Synbiotic365 was engineered with a cutting-edge delivery technology for your stomach. I'm talking about a unique delayed-release coating that ensures the live probiotic bacteria survive the journey to the middle of your gut where they are most needed. This special coating is something retail-class probiotics often neglect in order to cut costs. Plus, Synbiotic365 is packaged in nitrogen-purged blister packs. That's because studies have shown that oxygen, heat, and moisture can reduce potency or outright kill beneficial probiotics while in transit or stored in your home. Our high-tech packaging ensures the live therapeutic class probiotics are not only protected from the elements, but also guarantee a shelf life of 2 years without refrigeration. So wherever you go, you can easily take Synbiotic365 with you and never have to worry about missing your daily gut fix. Synbiotic365 is also certified organic, GMO-free, and allergen-free. And I'm proud to say that it is made right here in the USA. Furthermore, every single capsule is tested by United Naturals as well as a third-party FDA-approved lab for potency, purity, and stability. Now, whether you're interested in a little slimmer waistline or you've got 20 pounds to lose, I'm sure you're ready to give Synbiotic365 packed with my 3 digestive superfoods a try. Of course, you could go to specialty grocery stores or search online for these all-natural ingredients yourself, but finding exactly what you need to replicate my formula is both time-consuming and expensive. In fact, it would cost you more than $100 for a 1-month supply. That's just too much for anyone to spend. With Synbiotic365, United Naturals was able to engineer my extraordinary formula with the highest purity and quality without passing the cost on to customers, while still maintaining top-notch standards. This was very important to me. You see, I became a doctor to improve the health of my patients, not to profit from them. And I want everyone to be able to afford Synbiotic365, so they can experience all the benefits that my 3 digestive superfoods combined have to offer. Because it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg to feel good. So I've put together an exclusive offer only for new customers. When you order Synbiotic365 through this presentation, you won't pay the full $89 per box. That's what it would cost you if you came to see me at my office in Manhattan. I've convinced United Naturals to slash their price for a limited time, because this isn't about money. It's about helping people. Which is why you're going to get Synbiotic365 today for the special discount of just $45, saving you $44 off the retail price. But before I tell you more, you should know that there is one catch. This massive markdown is only valid for first-time customers through this exclusive video while supplies last. And if you click away from this page, you may no longer be eligible for the highly discounted price. Why am I being so strict? Inventory is extremely limited. You see, the only way that United Naturals can guarantee the highest quality symbiotic formula is by making Synbiotic365 in small batches. And every time a new batch becomes available, it often sells out in just a matter of days. So I want to make sure everyone who is interested has an equal opportunity to purchase Synbiotic365. And don't worry, because there is a way you can stock up on multiple packages of Synbiotic365, so you can share with family and friends, or simply secure your own long-term supply now. Remember, unlike retail class probiotics, each package of Synbiotic365 is sealed in blister packs, giving it a 2-year shelf life. Now, the generous team at United Naturals has given me the authority to offer 2 very special discount pack options to you. And you know what that means? You guessed it, even bigger savings to new customers for buying in bulk. Our most popular option is the 3-pack. That's 3 months of Synbiotic365 for just $39 and change. Since taking it daily is so important to your gut health, I encourage all of my patients to start with a 3-pack so they don't run out too quickly. And if you're looking for the absolute best deal, then the family bundle of 6 boxes is for you. This is your chance to help not only yourself, but your loved ones as well. Whether it's your parents, your children, your brother or sister, or your friends, I know they will appreciate you sharing this revolutionary solution to better gut health and digestion support. That's why I made sure that our family bundle is affordable for everyone. Believe me, you will never see these low prices in stores or anywhere else online. United Naturals is even going to cover the cost of shipping when you order the 3-pack or family bundle 6-pack today. But since my goal is to help as many people as possible, I must limit these multi-pack options to only 1 multi-pack per customer. Now, if you're still not sure whether Synbiotic365 is right for you, I've got great news. Every package we ship is backed by our 100% money-back guarantee. Meaning, if for any reason at all you aren't completely satisfied with the results, I will happily refund every cent of your purchase. However, this special first-time customer offer is good only while supplies last and only through this video. Update. Since I released this video, the feedback we've received has been astounding. I don't have the proper words to express how grateful I am knowing I have helped so many people. And I'd like to thank everyone for their kind words via email, calls, and letters. Unfortunately, because of the overwhelming response, we've been having some issues keeping the video online, and we sold out of our last batch much earlier than expected. You see, the high-quality therapeutic class probiotics in Synbiotic365 take a considerable amount of time to produce. However, if there is a next step button below, it means you're in luck, because Synbiotic365 is back in stock and you can order it now. If we are still sold out, you may be given the option to pre-order, and I suggest you take advantage if that's the case. Now, are you ready to try Synbiotic365? I thought so. Go ahead and click the orange Next Step button below to check our inventory and lock in this special price while it's still available. As I mentioned, the first-time customer offer is available only through this presentation. Oh, and can you do me a quick favor? Would you tell your friends and family about Synbiotic365? It's the only way I'll be able to reach my goal of helping more than 1 million Americans achieve excellent gut health. Feel free to share this video with them so they can take advantage of these low prices as well. Don't forget, trying Synbiotic365 is risk-free for 30 days. If at any time you aren't happy with your results, you can simply send back what's left within 30 days of receiving your order. And we'll issue a full refund, no questions asked. But I am totally confident that won't happen, because I know that even after just 1 week of using Synbiotic365, you'll be amazed at how much better you feel. Before you know it, you'll start to notice that you've got more energy and you're sleeping more soundly. This will make your mind more alert during the day so you can focus and work more effectively. And best of all, you'll experience improved digestion so you'll have less bloating and fewer food cravings. Keep in mind that restoring your healthy gut bacteria may take some time, so I urge you to use Synbiotic365 until your entire supply is gone. But if you're not satisfied, for any reason at all, I insist you contact me, and I'll make sure you get a quick refund. That's how certain I am that you'll be completely satisfied with your order. So just click the big Next Step button below. You've really got nothing to lose. As soon as you click, you'll be taken to our secure transaction page, and placing your order is so easy. All you need to do is fill in your shipping and payment details, then press the Submit Order button, and we'll rush Synbiotic365 directly to your doorstep. When your package arrives, I suggest you immediately start taking one capsule with a glass of water every morning. As a doctor, I can't stress enough the importance of making Synbiotic365 a regular part of your daily routine. Only then will you fully realize the powerful effects of my symbiotic formula with my 3 digestive superfoods working together in perfect unison to nourish and replenish the good bacteria in your gut. And just like my patients, you're going to be thrilled with what the clinically proven ingredients in Synbiotic365 can do for your entire body. Things like improved metabolism, healthier looking skin, a sharper mind, a better mood, and ultimately a slender waistline. All with a single capsule of Synbiotic365 a day. To continue, just click on the orange Next Step button below, because I promise you'll be so glad you did. Wishing you the best of health, I'm Dr. Vincent Pedre. By the way, I always love to hear about how Synbiotic365 is working for people. And since this public health report went viral, I've received countless emails full of wonderful success stories. Reading them is the best part of my day. My office has also never been so busy, as people are coming in to thank me personally. And even though I no longer have the time to respond to everyone individually, please know that I do read each email that comes across my desk, so keep them coming. My email address is drpedre@unitednaturals.com. And I highly recommend that you share this presentation with those you love because everyone can benefit from hearing this information. So now click the orange button below to take the first step to better gut health and a more vibrant lifestyle. If you're still watching, here are some answers to the most frequently asked questions I've received from my patients. Is it safe? The superfoods in Synbiotic365 are all natural and safe, and every single ingredient has been certified organic by Quality Assurance International. There's nothing artificial or synthetic in our formula, and Synbiotic365 is non-GMO verified as well. When will it start working? Everyone is going to experience something different, but most of my patients tell me they're feeling more energy, less cravings, and less bloat in the first week. If that doesn't happen for you, do not be discouraged. For some people, it can take a full 30 days to get your gut back to a healthy balance of good and bad bacteria. However, to reap Synbiotic365 maximum benefits, giving it a full 90 days is always best. What should I eat while taking Synbiotic365? I love this question because my patients are always thrilled to hear the answer. There's really no need to eliminate specific foods from your diet. Of course, I encourage you to cut back on fats, sugars, and refined carbohydrates. The good news is that most customers find they no longer crave these foods after taking Synbiotic365. Tell me more about your money-back guarantee. Even though there's no reason it shouldn't work, we do give you a full 30 days to see if Synbiotic365 is right for you. So if you're not satisfied with your results during that time, simply contact United Naturals' world-class customer support team and they will quickly provide a complete refund. Where can I get Synbiotic365? Synbiotic365 is only available online and at a handful of doctors' offices at this time. You won't find Synbiotic365 in stores, and this is to ensure we can continue to offer the lowest possible price to our customers and keep the quality high. To place your order right now, just click the big orange button below. My proprietary formula consisting of my 3 digestive superfoods will be conveniently shipped straight to your home, and your total gut health transformation can begin. Picture this: no more stomach aches or cramping, no more sleepless nights, and a skinnier, more vivacious you. So click the button below before supplies run out.